Hi everyone, so today we're going to talk about Prismacolor colour pencils. Obviously I've heard loads of good things about them, so I couldn't very well have such a large colour pencil collection without including them. So I restrained from buying a massive pack and just went for 12, just so that I could get to know them and see whether I liked them before investing in any more. So yeah, the pack of 12, I think it was about £10 on Amazon. I got this set, and you get a black, you get a dark brown, you get sienna brown, grass green, apple green, violet blue, violet, true blue, crimson red, orange, canary yellow and white. Now you'll be able to see if I turn these around that if I put them in a straight line, you'll see that they're still quite long. Now I have done a drawing with these, and I did sharpen them all to start with as well. They do sharpen well. The problem with Prismacolor Premier colour pencils across, across YouTube seems to be that the quality has changed over the years and has lessened in quality. And I must say that when I first opened the tin, I was struck by how kind of cheap they felt. They feel very light. They feel the wood of the pencil feels lightweight and kind of cheap. It's very hard to describe without feeling it and holding them in real life, but they, compared to a lot of my other colour pencils, they do feel cheap. And the other concern that YouTubers have is that the leads aren't central, and I don't know if you can see that there. That looks pretty central to me. Let's have a look at all of the others. There we go. So yeah, I guess you can see with the blue and the white there, the lead isn't quite central, and with the yellow there, it actually looks like there's some of the lead has sort of crumbled away. So I can see what they mean by that. The darker green there also looks a bit sort of small. No, I think it's just because it's offset it makes it look small, but it's actually just an illusion. But yeah, so I'd have to agree with them regarding that. But of course, that's not going to be a problem unless you find that it affects your sharpening. I didn't have a problem at all sharpening these. I found them absolutely fine. The pencil that has been used the most, I mean, I did use a lot of yellow in my drawing, which you'll see at the end of this video, but this yellow was the only one that where the tip broke while I was drawing, and I had to resharpen it. Maybe that's got something to do with that bit that seems to have crumbled away at the bottom there. Maybe this whole one is not as strong as it could be, but the rest were absolutely fine. So first impressions were excellent, and I must say I really enjoyed using them. So we're going to do my little colour swatch and the blending test, and we'll also try blending. I think I'm going to be blending a white and a red together to make a pink, and so I'll do that on some brown card, and then I think I'm also going to, the drawing that I'm doing is on brown sketchbook paper as well. It's not actually tone tan paper, it's just like a regular kind of craft scrapbook that I got from Paper Chase. So the paper is not designed for colour pencils. I still really want to get hold of one of those Strathmore tone tanned ones to try that out, but in the meantime I've been using this scrapbook, so you'll see me trying them out on there, and then we'll come back at the end and chat about my kind of overall views of how they perform. enjoyed watching me use these pencils, and I thought I'd just have a little chat about my overall impressions. I find them really soft and creamy, which I love. As I said earlier, they sharpen well, and they're just absolutely lovely to work with. So the colours, I really like the colour choices they've made in the pack. I like that you get 2 browns, 2 greens, and having the violet, the sort of more purpley shade, is really, really helpful, because if you're drawing things like flowers, purple can come up, and it's a bit of a pain to try and sort of mix it if you haven't got a purple. So I really enjoyed the colour range in this set. When I mixed the white and the red together to make a pink here, it just is so creamy and it really blended well. And then my colour mixes, as I said, it is difficult sometimes to make a purple. In this case, I was using this blue here and of course the red, and it kind of just went a bit brown, so that's why having the violet in there is really useful. The green made a nice kind of, what would you call that, a kind of grassy green. I mean, even though this colour here is labelled as a grass green, I would actually say it's more like, you know, this green is a bit more like grass green, or olive green, I suppose you could call it. And the orange also worked well, although it's a little bit on the dark side, so maybe I could have added some more yellow there. But overall, so we've got 2 out of 3 of our colour mixes. When it comes to the blending though, it doesn't perform very well with the Copic colourless blender. It's really not quite, you know, it hasn't really managed to blend it out, and so it still looks quite rough where I've done my final layer. The baby oil worked really well. It doesn't look quite as good as the Zest It, which is this one, but they're both sort of blended out and they both look quite vibrant. And then lastly we've got the Deux pencil. That's worked quite well, and I was really impressed with how the red stays so vibrant in this test. Because with a lot of the other ones it kind of made the red go into more of a pinky shade, whereas at least in this one it's kept it really, really vibrant. So I'll try and hold that a bit closer so you can see. Oops. It's very hard to... that's quite a good view there. So you can see here how the Zest It is very bright and very well blended. Baby oil is a close second, but you can definitely see there that it's not as good as Zest It. So yeah, and then I also used the favourite from over here, which was Zest It, to blend half of the colour mixes, and that blended really well. That's gone nice and smooth. And yeah, no problems with blending there. And then when I did the layering test, I managed to get up to about 7. I think with the Prismacolors you'd probably need to use one of these solvents or something to sort of subtly build up your layers. I couldn't really go much denser than 7 layers just working on dry paper. So yeah, really good swatch test there. With these colour pencils I did struggle a bit. Now it doesn't always happen because I have used some other colour pencils on this scrapbook paper, but with the Prismacolors what I found was I had, I don't think you can see it, but I had some kind of bits of the paper, it's really hard to see. I don't know if you can see there, it's sort of like the paper fibres came up a bit. So I struggled in that sense, but as I said, it's not designed for colour pencils specifically, this paper, so I'm not too worried about that. But yeah, I found that it blended really nicely. They're really, really vibrant, very, very creamy, really nice to use. I'm no expert. I know that there's lots of people out there who can really skillfully use these pencils, but for doing a vibrant drawing it's absolutely fine. I didn't find myself able to kind of add the details perhaps as well as I have been able to with other colour pencils, which we'll of course get to eventually in my series of colour pencil comparisons. But I have to say that compared to some of the other soft pencils I've got, these perhaps weren't my favourite, but they're certainly very, very good, and I can see why people love them. I'd actually go as far as to say that you can't really compare them with Polychromos because they're so different, with the Polychromos being a harder pencil and oil-based, whereas these Prismacolors are really, really soft and they're wax-based. So what I'm actually going to do is I've picked out 3 more types of colour pencils from my collection that I think are the most similar in kind of consistency to the Prismacolors. So in the next few videos I'm going to be looking at those and kind of comparing all 4 of them to see whether, you know, there's a good budget option out there, or, you know, a good alternative for the Prismacolors.